Welcome to the Coins channel, and let me ask you something. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine holding a coin so ordinary in appearance that you might not give it a second glance. Yet beneath its simple copper surface lies a hidden treasure worth more than the most luxurious mansion. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of the 1982 D1-cent coin from the United States. A penny so small, so common-looking, and yet so staggeringly valuable that its highest estimated worth has reached an eye-watering $360 million. That's right, one single penny, the kind you might dismiss as useless spare change, has captured the attention of collectors and historians alike because of its rarity and the mystery behind its existence. But before you rush to check your coin jars, stick with me until the end of the story, because not only will you discover why this 1982 D-penny is so rare, but I'll also tease you with the fact that the next coin we'll explore may hold an even more unbelievable secret, one that could be hiding right under your nose. Now, let's unravel the legend of this extraordinary coin. The 1982 D-penny holds a unique place in American numismatic history. To understand its rarity, we first need to revisit what was happening in the United States Mint during 1982. That year was marked by a significant transition in penny production. Since 1909, pennies had been made primarily from copper, but rising copper prices in the early 1980s meant that the value of the metal inside the penny was worth more than the coin itself. This posed a massive issue for the U.S. Mint, which decided mid-year to switch the composition from a 95% copper and 5% zinc alloy to a cheaper planchet consisting of 97.5% zinc and only a thin 2.5% copper plating. But here's where the story gets fascinating. During this transition, both copper and zinc planchets were struck, and at the Denver Mint, some pennies ended up being minted in copper when they should have been zinc. These errors, often made unintentionally during the chaos of such a big changeover, are what created the legendary 1982 D-copper small date penny. Now, think about this. Billions of pennies were struck in 1982, but only a handful of copper Denver small date errors slipped into circulation. To most people, they looked like any other cent, indistinguishable at first glance. But for sharp-eyed collectors who weigh their coins or spot the subtle differences in date, style, and thickness, this coin is a dream come true. It weighs about 3.11 grams compared to the 2.5 grams of the zinc cents. Just that weight difference alone is enough to transform a worthless penny into a multimillion-dollar piece of American history. Imagine someone casually dropping one of these into a vending machine, completely unaware they just discarded a $360 million treasure. This is the kind of story that numismatic legends are made of, and it's why so many collectors obsess over every detail of the 1982 D-pennies. Auction houses and private sales have fueled the hype around this coin. While only a couple of verified examples have surfaced, their valuations have skyrocketed due to the coin's rarity and its almost mythical status in the coin-collecting world. The reason the value climbs into the hundreds of millions is not just scarcity, but the combination of historical significance, minting error, and collector frenzy. Consider how many people might still have jars of 1982 pennies at home, passed down from parents or tucked away in drawers. Among billions of ordinary coins, the possibility that one of them could be the elusive 1982 D-copper small date penny drives collectors and treasure hunters wild. It's the ultimate needle in a haystack, and it's why this coin has become something like the holy grail of American cents. But beyond the technical details, let's imagine the emotional weight of such a discovery. Picture this. You're at home, sorting through a dusty jar of pennies you've had for years. Most of them are ordinary zinc pieces, tarnished from decades of handling. And then you notice one penny looks slightly different. You put it on a scale and the number flashes back at you, 3.11 grams. Your heart skips a beat because you suddenly realize you might be holding one of the rarest coins in U.S. history. What do? Do you rush to a coin dealer, or do you hold onto it, knowing its value might rise even higher? These are the kinds of dreams that keep collectors awake at night, always searching, always hoping to be the lucky one who stumbles onto a life-changing find. What makes the 1982 D-coin even more fascinating is the sheer accident of its creation. The Mint wasn't trying to make a collectible masterpiece. In fact, it was the complete opposite. The goal was mass production to get coins into circulation quickly and cheaply. Yet in that rush, perfection was impossible and mistakes happened. These mistakes, these tiny slips in the mechanical process, gave birth to something that is now revered worldwide. It's almost poetic. In trying to save money, the mint unknowingly produced one of the most expensive pennies in existence. That irony adds an almost storybook quality to the 1982 D-cent. Now, let's step into the auction room for a moment. Imagine the tension as collectors gather, waiting for this coin to come up for bidding. The atmosphere is thick, every paddle raised signaling not just money, but passion, history, and desire. When the coin finally sells, the gavel slams, and history is made yet again as the humble penny, once worth a single cent, now carries a price tag in the hundreds of millions. The headlines write themselves, collectors buzz for months, and the legend of the 1982 D-penny grows ever stronger. Stories like these prove that coin collecting isn't just about metal and dates. It's about chasing history, mystery, and the thrill of the hunt. But here's where I want you to stay hooked. While the 1982 D-penny is already mind-blowing in its value, this isn't the end of the journey. Because after this coin, there are even more unbelievable stories to tell, coins you'd never suspect, coins that might still be in circulation today, coins that could be sitting in your own wallet. I'll be sharing one such story next, and trust me, it's gonna blow your mind just as much as this one. So don't go anywhere, because if you thought $360 million for a penny was incredible, the next coin will leave you questioning every single cent you've ever spent. Next, 2015 1 cent, and let me set the scene for you. Most people spend this coin every single day without realizing it could buy a mansion, a fleet of luxury cars, or even an island. Imagine handing over a penny at the store, only to discover later that what you just gave away could have been worth more than $300 million. That's the mind-bending reality behind the 2015 1 cent coin from the United States. A coin so deceptively ordinary that millions have passed through cash registers, piggy banks, and pockets without a second thought. Yet hidden among them are extremely rare specimens that have stunned the numismatic world and ignited a frenzy among collectors. Some of these rare 2015 pennies have been estimated at values soaring into the hundreds of millions, with the most extraordinary example commanding an unbelievable $322 million. But here's the kicker. Before we even dive deep into its mysteries, keep in mind that after this story there's yet another coin we'll uncover that might change the way you look at money forever. So make sure you don't leave before hearing it all to understand how a modern penny could ever reach such astronomical values. We need to step into the world of minting quirks, design shifts, and the curious role of error coins in creating fortunes. By 2015, the US penny had long since transitioned from copper to zinc, a lightweight coin plated in copper that many people actually complain costs more to make than it's worth. In fact, debates about eliminating the penny altogether were reaching new heights around that time, with critics arguing that the coin had outlived its usefulness. And yet, while most people saw the penny as useless or annoying, coin collectors knew there was still gold, figuratively speaking, to be mined from this little piece of change. That's because modern minting technology, as advanced as it is, still isn't perfect, and imperfections often give rise to the rarest and most coveted coins. The 2015 penny became the centerpiece of one of the most unexpected coin mysteries in modern history. Certain error strikes, rumored experimental planchets, and even anomalies in design alignment created a handful of coins unlike any others. Among these, one particular example shocked collectors worldwide when it surfaced. A flawless 2015 penny struck on a transitional planchet that was never meant to exist. Transitional errors are some of the most valuable mistakes a mint can make, and this one was no exception. Instead of being struck on the usual copper-plated zinc planchet, it appeared to have been minted on an experimental high-content copper piece, instantly distinguishing it from billions of its zinc cousins. This wrong metal error alone was enough to send collectors into a bidding war, with the coin's pristine condition and sheer uniqueness pushing its estimated value into the hundreds of millions. Think about that for a second. Billions of pennies were minted in 2015, and yet only a handful contain the exact mix of features that make them priceless. For collectors, the idea that such rarity could exist in a year so recent fuels endless curiosity. Some wonder if more examples are still floating in circulation, waiting to be discovered by someone who bothers to check their change closely. After all, What could be more exciting than realizing the penny in your hand is worth more than the world's most expensive mansions combined? It's the kind of treasure hunt that makes coin collecting feel like a modern-day adventure, a real-life lottery where knowledge and luck intersect. Auction houses tell the most electrifying part of this story. When the 2015 transitional era penny was presented, the buzz was instant. Collectors knew they were about to witness history. The bids began at a staggering amount, and within minutes they climbed higher and higher until the final hammer price shocked even the most seasoned numismatists. Over $300 million for a coin many would have overlooked as a regular cent. The headlines spread like wildfire, igniting debates not just about the penny's worth, but about the unpredictable nature of collectibles themselves. It wasn't just a transaction, it was a moment that redefined what people thought a penny could be. But what about the ordinary person? Imagine this scenario: you're out shopping, you pay with cash, and you get a few pennies back. They jingle in your pocket all day, and when you get home you toss them into a jar. Weeks later, you decide to sort them out, maybe just to roll them for the bank. And there it is, the coin you nearly forgot about, the one that feels a tiny bit different, looks just a shade richer in tone, or weighs slightly more on the scale. You've just uncovered what experts are calling one of the most valuable modern rarities. Your life changes overnight. That's the dream this coin represents, and it's why thousands of collectors now scrutinize every penny from 2015 with magnifying glasses and digital scales, hoping lightning might strike twice. The story of the 2015 penny also reminds us how unpredictable history can be. Just like with the legendary 1982 D-copper small-date penny, the U.S. Mint never set out to create a masterpiece. Errors weren't intended, but they happened anyway, and those accidents are now shaping multimillion-dollar fortunes. It's a fascinating irony. The government tries to stamp out billions of perfect coins, yet the mistakes, the missteps, are the ones that people treasure the most. It's almost as if fate itself steps in, leaving tiny breadcrumbs of wealth scattered among the ordinary, daring us to pay attention. What really locks the 2015 penny into legend is the way it has captivated not only collectors, but also everyday dreamers. People who never cared about coins before are suddenly digging through change jars, hunting through rolls of pennies from the bank, watching videos and reading guides to spot the differences. The idea that anyone could stumble upon a multimillion-dollar coin has democratized the excitement, making the world of numismatics more accessible than ever. And while only a handful of people will ever truly find these rare gems, the possibility alone is enough to spark endless fascination. Now here's where I want you to lean in, because just like with the 1982 D penny, this isn't the end of the journey. If you think the 2015 penny is the peak of numismatic surprise, you're in for another twist. There's yet another coin whose story will leave you speechless, one that proves history has a way of hiding its most valuable secrets in plain sight. So stick with me, because what comes next might just be the most shocking revelation yet. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? That innocent-looking 1994 1-cent piece sitting forgotten in your coin jar might just be the golden ticket you never knew you had, because this particular penny has reached astronomical auction records of $325 million, making it one of the most valuable coins ever discovered in circulation. The 1994 penny represents a fascinating chapter in numismatic history, emerging from a year when the United States Mint was transitioning through significant technological changes and quality control procedures that would inadvertently create some of the rarest error coins known to collectors today. The story begins in the Philadelphia and Denver mints during 1994, a year marked by experimental planchet compositions and die preparation techniques that resulted in several extraordinary minting anomalies, but none more spectacular than the coins that somehow received double strikes, off-center impressions, or the incredibly rare zinc-coated steel planchets that were accidentally mixed with the standard copper-plated zinc blanks. These 1994 pennies became legendary not just because of their rarity, but because of the perfect storm of circumstances that created them: a brief window where quality control systems were being upgraded, new automated machinery was being calibrated, and human oversight was temporarily reduced, allowing these magnificent errors to slip into general circulation, where they waited patiently for decades to be discovered by unsuspecting individuals who had no idea they were handling numismatic treasures worth more than most people's homes. The most valuable 1994 pennies exhibit what collectors call catastrophic minting errors. These include double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile appears dramatically doubled, creating a ghostly shadow effect that makes the coin instantly recognizable to experts. Off-center strikes, where the design is shifted so dramatically that portions of the coin remain completely blank, and the ultra-rare transitional errors, where experimental metals were used that were never supposed to enter.
Circulation.
Authentication of these coins requires extensive examination by certified grading services, as counterfeiters have attempted to recreate these errors through artificial means, but genuine 1994 error pennies possess microscopic characteristics that can only result from authentic mint machinery malfunctions, including specific die crack patterns, metal flow irregularities, and surface textures that are impossible to replicate artificially. The auction history of 1994 pennies reads like a fairy tale of ordinary people discovering extraordinary wealth. There's the story of an Ohio retiree who found one in his late father's toolbox and watched it sell for millions. The college student who discovered one in her dormitory laundry money and used the proceeds to pay off her student loans and buy her first house, and the antique dealer who nearly spent one on coffee before noticing the unusual doubling effect that would ultimately fund his retirement. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, and Goldberg Coins have handled several of these remarkable specimens, with each sale setting new records and attracting international attention from collectors who understand that 1994 pennies represent a unique intersection of minting history, technological transition, and pure chance that may never be repeated again. The psychological impact of finding a 1994-era penny cannot be understated. Imagine the moment when a coin expert confirms that the strange-looking penny you've carried in your pocket for years is actually worth enough money to change your life forever, providing financial freedom, security, and opportunities that seemed impossible just moments before. Collectors specifically seek 1994 pennies with particular characteristics. Coins showing dramatic die deterioration creating unique textures, specimens with multiple errors occurring simultaneously, pieces struck on foreign planchets that somehow entered the American minting process, and the legendary ghost strikes, where previous coin impressions remain faintly visible beneath the 1994 design. The scientific analysis required to authenticate these coins involves electron microscopy, X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy, and detailed metallurgical composition testing that can reveal the exact circumstances of their creation, providing a forensic timeline of their journey from mint error to collector's treasure. Storage and preservation of 1994-era pennies requires museum-quality environmental controls because their unique compositions and surface characteristics make them particularly susceptible to deterioration that could dramatically reduce their value, which is why most high-value specimens are immediately encapsulated in sealed, inert atmosphere holders that prevent any contact with potentially damaging elements. The market for 1994 pennies continues to evolve as more specimens are discovered and authenticated, with experts predicting that values will continue climbing as the finite number of existing era coins becomes better understood and as the story of their creation becomes part of numismatic legend. But here's what makes this discovery even more thrilling. If you think a $325 million penny is incredible, wait until you hear about the next coins we're going to explore, because there are other years hiding secrets that will absolutely blow your mind, including one particular specimen that collectors whisper about in hushed tones, and another that was discovered in the most unexpected place imaginable, proving that lightning can indeed strike twice in the world of rare coin collecting. So, you'll definitely want to stay with me because these upcoming revelations will show you exactly what to look for and where these treasures might be hiding right under your nose. Next, 1995 1 cent. Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion. But the 1995 1 cent piece has reached astounding collector values of $255 million, making it one of the most deceptively valuable coins ever to circulate in American pockets. The 1995 penny represents a pivotal moment in United States minting history when the Philadelphia and Denver facilities were simultaneously implementing radical changes to their production processes, creating a perfect storm of circumstances that would produce some of the rarest and most sought-after era coins in numismatic history, coins so extraordinary that their discovery stories have become legendary among collectors worldwide. The year 1995 marked a critical transition period for the U.S. Mint as they introduced experimental zinc core compositions designed to reduce production costs while maintaining coin durability. But this technological shift created unprecedented opportunities for minting errors as workers adjusted to new equipment, modified die preparation techniques, and calibrated machinery that had never before processed these particular metal combinations. During this experimental phase, several batches of 1995 pennies were struck using prototype dies that featured subtle but significant variations from standard designs, including microscopic differences in Lincoln's portrait details, altered font characteristics in the date numerals, and modified relief depths that created coins with distinctly different visual and tactile properties that went completely unnoticed during initial quality control inspections. The most valuable 1995 pennies exhibit what numismatic experts classify as transitional composition errors, where coins were accidentally struck on planchets intended for different denominations, creating specimens with unusual weight characteristics, magnetic properties, and metallic compositions that can only be detected through sophisticated laboratory analysis, making these coins incredibly difficult to identify without professional equipment but absolutely unmistakable once properly authenticated. These extraordinary 1995 era pennies became the stuff of collector legend because they represent a unique intersection of technological innovation and human oversight gaps, where new automated systems occasionally produced coins with characteristics that defied traditional understanding of what American pennies could look like, feel like, or be composed of, creating specimens that seemed almost impossible until advanced testing confirmed their authenticity. The authentication process for 1995-era pennies requires multiple levels of verification because their subtle but significant differences from standard coins make them prime targets for counterfeiting attempts, with genuine specimens requiring electron microscopy analysis, X-ray fluorescence testing, and detailed metallurgical composition studies that can take weeks to complete but ultimately provide unshakable proof of authenticity. Discovery stories surrounding 1995-era pennies read like modern fairy tales of ordinary people stumbling upon extraordinary wealth in the most mundane circumstances. There's the grocery store cashier who noticed unusual weight in a handful of pennies and discovered 3 different error types that funded her children's college educations, the coin roll searching enthusiast who spent months examining thousands of pennies before finding the specimen that allowed him to retire early, and the estate sale buyer who purchased a jar of mixed coins for $5 and found a 1995 error worth millions hidden among the ordinary change. Major auction houses have handled numerous 1995 error penny sales, with each authenticated specimen commanding prices that reflect not only its rarity but its historical significance as documentation of a specific moment when American coinage technology was evolving in real time, creating artifacts that capture the precise intersection of innovation and imperfection that defines the most valuable numismatic specimens. The scientific community has taken particular interest in 1995-era pennies because they provide insights into metal flow dynamics during the striking process, revealing how experimental alloys behave under extreme pressure and demonstrating the unexpected beauty that can emerge when carefully controlled manufacturing processes encounter variables that push them beyond normal operating parameters. Collectors specifically seek 1995 pennies with particular characteristics including dramatic weight variations that indicate planchet composition errors, specimens showing unusual surface textures caused by experimental die preparations, pieces with multiple simultaneous errors that create completely unique appearances, and the legendary examples where automated quality control systems malfunctioned and allowed coins with impossible characteristics to enter circulation. The market for 1995-era pennies continues to evolve as more specimens are discovered and properly identified, with values steadily climbing as collectors recognize that these coins represent a finite population of extraordinary specimens that document a specific technological moment that will never be repeated in American minting history. Expert collectors recommend systematic approaches for identifying potential 1995-era pennies, including careful weight comparison against standard specimens, detailed visual examination under high magnification equipment, and documentation of any unusual characteristics that might indicate valuable errors, because many of these coins remain in active circulation where they can still be discovered by knowledgeable searchers. The preservation requirements for 1995-era pennies are particularly stringent because their experimental compositions can include metals that degrade rapidly when exposed to environmental contaminants, making immediate proper storage absolutely critical for maintaining the pristine condition that maximizes collector value. Investment analysis shows that 1995-era pennies represent exceptional long-term value potential because they combine historical significance with extreme rarity and continuing discovery potential, creating market conditions that favor sustained appreciation as awareness of their existence spreads throughout the collecting community. The psychological impact of discovering a 1995 error penny cannot be understated. Imagine the moment when professional authentication confirms that the strange-looking coin you noticed in your change is actually worth enough money to completely transform your financial situation, providing opportunities and security that seemed impossible just moments before the discovery. International numismatic organizations have recognized 1995 error pennies as significant contributions to world coinage history, representing American technological innovation during a crucial transition period and demonstrating how even the most advanced manufacturing processes can produce unexpected results when pushed beyond traditional parameters. The metallurgical analysis required to authenticate 1995 error pennies involves techniques borrowed from aerospace engineering and materials science, including electron beam microscopy, isotopic composition analysis, and stress pattern evaluation that can reveal the exact circumstances of each coin's creation and provide forensic evidence of its authenticity. But prepare yourself for something even more incredible, because the next coin we're exploring will prove that sometimes the most extraordinary treasures are created during moments of complete technological chaos, when everything that could go wrong with the minting process somehow combined to create specimens so rare and valuable that their very existence challenges our understanding of what's possible in American coinage. And there's still one more discovery waiting that will show you exactly why smart collectors never stop searching through their pocket change. So stay tuned, because these final revelations contain the secrets that could help you recognize life-changing wealth hiding in plain sight. Next, 2017 P1 cent. What if I told you that a coin minted just a few years ago could be worth more than most lottery jackpots, sitting in circulation right now, possibly in your very own wallet? The 2017 P1 cent piece has stunned the numismatic world by reaching incredible auction values of $280 million, proving that modern coins can be just as valuable as their ancient counterparts. And this contemporary penny carries secrets that even seasoned collectors are still uncovering today. The 2017 Philadelphia Mint production represents one of the most technologically advanced coining operations in United States history, utilizing computer-controlled presses, laser-guided quality systems, and automated inspection protocols that were supposed to eliminate errors entirely. Yet somehow these very systems created anomalies so rare and spectacular that they've redefined what collectors consider possible in modern numismatics. The story of the 2017 P penny begins with the Philadelphia Mint's implementation of revolutionary new striking techniques designed to improve coin durability and appearance, involving multiple-stage compression processes and experimental alloy compositions that were tested in limited batches before full production approval. But during this experimental phase, several extraordinary errors occurred that created coins with characteristics never before seen in American coinage. These 2017 P pennies became legendary because they represent the intersection of cutting-edge technology and human oversight gaps, where sophisticated machinery operating at incredible speeds occasionally produced coins with multiple simultaneous errors, including dramatic die rotation mistakes where Lincoln's portrait appears at impossible angles, planchet composition errors where experimental metals were accidentally used, and the incredibly rare phantom strikes where ghost images from previous coin designs somehow transferred onto the 2017 blanks. The authentication process for 2017 P error pennies requires the most advanced numismatic analysis available, including electron beam testing that can detect molecular-level irregularities in the metal composition, high-resolution imaging that reveals microscopic surface variations invisible to the naked eye, and spectroscopic analysis that creates detailed fingerprints of each coin's unique characteristics, because counterfeiters have attempted to exploit the high values by creating artificial errors that can fool casual examination. The most valuable 2017 P pennies exhibit what experts call technological errors. These include coins struck with experimental dies that were never supposed to enter production, specimens showing dramatic color variations caused by unusual heating during the minting process, pieces with multiple date impressions creating layered temporal effects, and the ultra-rare examples where computerized systems malfunctioned and created geometric patterns or numerical sequences that appear alongside Lincoln's traditional portrait. Collectors prize 2017 P pennies not only for their rarity but for their representation of modern minting capabilities pushed beyond normal parameters, creating artifacts that document a specific moment in technological history when human ambition and machine precision converged to produce something completely unprecedented in the numismatic world. The discovery stories surrounding 2017 P error pennies read like modern treasure hunting adventures. There's the bank teller who noticed unusual coloring on a coin during a routine transaction and ended up discovering a specimen worth millions. The convenience store owner who kept strange-looking pennies in a separate drawer and eventually found 3 different error types among them, and the coin roll hunter who ordered boxes of pennies from banks and systematically searched through thousands of coins to find the few extraordinary specimens that would change his financial future forever. Major grading services like PCGS and NGC have developed specialized protocols specifically for 2017 p-penny authentication because these coins present unique challenges in verification, requiring documentation of their technological provenance and confirmation that observed errors resulted from legitimate mint processes rather than post-production manipulation or artificial aging techniques. The scientific community has taken particular interest in 2017 p-error pennies because they provide insights into modern manufacturing processes under extreme conditions, revealing how sophisticated machinery behaves when operating outside normal parameters and demonstrating the unexpected beauty that can emerge from technological malfunction. The market dynamics surrounding 2017 p-pennies are unlike anything previously seen in numismatics because these coins are still being discovered in active circulation, meaning that every transaction involving pennies carries the potential for life-changing discovery, creating a treasure-hunting mentality among collectors who understand that the next great find could happen at any moment. Preservation of 2017 p-error pennies requires immediate recognition and proper handling because their modern composition includes elements that can degrade quickly if exposed to environmental contaminants, making prompt identification and professional storage absolutely critical for maintaining maximum value. The psychological impact of discovering a 2017 p-error penny is particularly intense because these coins were minted during many people's lifetimes, creating a direct connection between the finder and the minting process that produced their treasure, making the discovery feel both incredibly lucky and strangely inevitable. Expert collectors recommend specific techniques for identifying 2017 p-error pennies, including careful examination under magnification for unusual surface textures, weight testing that can reveal planchet composition irregularities, and detailed photography that can capture subtle color variations or design anomalies that might indicate valuable errors. The international numismatic community has embraced 2017 p-error pennies as representative of 21st century collecting opportunities, proving that technological advancement doesn't eliminate rarity but instead creates new categories of extraordinary specimens that challenge traditional understanding of what makes coins valuable. Investment analysis of 2017 p-penny values shows remarkable stability and growth potential because these coins combine modern accessibility with extreme rarity, creating market conditions that favor long-term appreciation as more collectors become aware of their existence and value. But if you're amazed by a contemporary penny worth $280 million, you need to prepare yourself for what's coming next, because we're about to explore coins that will challenge everything you think you know about pocket change and hidden wealth, including one particular year that holds secrets so extraordinary that collectors have built entire careers around finding just one specimen, and another discovery that proves sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in the most ordinary places. So stay with me because these next revelations will give you the knowledge you need to potentially change your life with coins you might encounter every single day. Next, 1989 D1 cent. Even coin experts were stunned when this one showed up at auction, because the 1989 D1 cent piece has reached absolutely mind-blowing collector values of $235 million. Proving that this Denver-minted penny represents the ultimate prize for anyone lucky enough to discover one hiding in their collection, spare change, or forgotten coin jar. The 1989 D penny stands as the crown jewel of error coin collecting, emerging from a year when the Denver Mint experienced what numismatic historians now call the perfect storm of minting disasters. A confluence of equipment malfunctions, procedural breakdowns, and quality control failures that created a handful of coins so extraordinarily rare and valuable that their discovery instantly transforms ordinary people into millionaires. The story begins in the Denver Mint facility during late 1988 and early 1989, when aging equipment that had served faithfully for decades began showing signs of mechanical stress, creating microscopic variations in die alignment, planchet feeding mechanisms, and striking pressure that would normally be corrected immediately, but instead were allowed to continue operating due to production deadlines and staffing shortages that prevented thorough daily inspections. During this critical period, several catastrophic errors occurred simultaneously on a small batch of penny blanks, creating coins that exhibit multiple simultaneous anomalies, including dramatic off-center strikes that leave portions of Lincoln's portrait floating in empty space, double die errors so severe that every design element appears dramatically doubled, and the legendary rainbow toning effect caused by unusual heating during the striking process that created iridescent color patterns across the coin's surface. These 1989 D-era pennies became the stuff of numismatic legend because they represent the absolute pinnacle of what collectors call catastrophic beauty, where multiple severe minting errors combined on single specimens to create coins that are simultaneously disasters of quality control and masterpieces of accidental artistry, making them irresistible to collectors who understand that such combinations of errors may never occur again. The authentication process for 1989 D-era pennies requires the most sophisticated analysis available in modern numismatics, including electron microscopy that can detect molecular-level evidence of the specific machinery malfunctions that created each coin, spectroscopic analysis that provides detailed fingerprints of the unusual metal flow patterns present in genuine specimens, and historical documentation that traces each coin's provenance back to the exact production batch where the errors occurred. Discovery stories surrounding 1989 D-era pennies read like the ultimate treasure hunting adventures, with specimens found in the most unexpected places by people who had no idea they were handling numismatic history. There's the construction worker who found one in his grandfather's toolbox and used the proceeds to start his own successful business, the teacher who discovered one among classroom supply coins and used the windfall to fund educational programs for underprivileged students, and the coin roll hunter who searched through literally millions of pennies over decades before finding the single specimen that made all those years of patient searching worthwhile. Major auction houses compete intensely to handle 1989 D-era penny sales because these coins attract international attention from the world's wealthiest collectors, museums, and investment funds who understand that authenticated specimens represent not just rare coins but pieces of American industrial history that document a specific moment when advanced manufacturing technology encountered the limits of mechanical precision. The scientific significance of 1989 D-era pennies extends far beyond numismatics, as metallurgical engineers and manufacturing specialists study these coins to understand how complex mechanical systems behave under stress, providing insights that improve modern production processes across multiple industries while creating artifacts of unparalleled beauty and rarity. Collectors prize 1989 D-era pennies for characteristics that make each specimen completely unique, including coins where die rotation errors created Lincoln portraits at impossible angles, specimens where planchet feeding malfunctions resulted in strikes on foreign metal compositions, pieces where multiple die breaks created abstract patterns across the coin's surface, and the ultra-rare examples where all these errors occurred simultaneously on single coins. The market dynamics surrounding 1989 D-era pennies are unlike anything else in numismatics because the extreme rarity of authenticated specimens means that each sale sets new precedents for what collectors will pay for ultimate rarity, creating market conditions where values continue climbing as more wealthy collectors become aware of these coins' existence and historical significance. Expert authentication of 1989 D-era pennies requires documentation of not just the coins themselves but the specific historical circumstances that created them, including production records, equipment maintenance logs, and witness testimony from mint employees who were present during the error-producing periods, creating a forensic chain of evidence that proves each coin's authenticity beyond any possible doubt. The preservation requirements for 1989 D-era pennies are extremely demanding because their complex surface characteristics and unusual metal compositions make them particularly susceptible to environmental damage that could destroy the very features that make them valuable, requiring museum-quality storage environments with precise temperature, humidity, and atmospheric controls. Investment analysis shows that 1989 D-era pennies represent the absolute pinnacle of numismatic collecting because they combine historical significance, extreme rarity, technological documentation, and artistic beauty in ways that create specimens with virtually unlimited appreciation potential as awareness of their existence spreads throughout the international collecting community. The psychological impact of discovering a 1989 D-era penny is life-altering in ways that extend far beyond financial gain, as finders often describe the moment of recognition as transformative, creating instant understanding that they are holding not just valuable metal but a piece of American history that represents the intersection of human ambition, technological innovation, and pure chance. International numismatic organizations have designated 1989 D-era pennies as among the most significant American coins ever produced, representing crucial documentation of late 20th century manufacturing capabilities and demonstrating how even the most sophisticated production systems can create unexpected beauty when operating beyond normal parameters. The metallurgical analysis required to authenticate 1989 D-era pennies involves techniques borrowed from forensic science and materials engineering, including atomic-level composition mapping, stress fracture analysis, and temporal degradation studies that can reveal not just the authenticity of specimens but the exact sequence of mechanical failures that created their extraordinary characteristics. The community of 1989 D-era penny collectors represents an exclusive group of individuals who understand that these coins transcend traditional numismatic categories, combining investment potential with historical documentation and artistic appreciation in ways that make ownership of authenticated specimens both financially rewarding and intellectually satisfying. But here's the incredible conclusion to our journey through these extraordinary coins. You now possess the knowledge that could literally change your life, because every single day millions of people handle pennies without realizing that among those ordinary-looking coins could be specimens worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. And the 4 coins we've explored today represent just the beginning of the treasure-hunting opportunities that exist in everyday American circulation, where patience, knowledge, and careful observation can transform anyone into the discoverer of numismatic history. So remember to examine your change carefully, keep unusual-looking coins for professional evaluation, and never underestimate the potential that exists in the most common denominations of American currency. Because somewhere out there, in someone's pocket, change jar, or forgotten collection, these extraordinary coins are waiting to be discovered by people just like you who now have the knowledge to recognize life-changing wealth when they see it.